Now, the conference theme. Basically, what was that all about? Bring it all together. It wasn't just something I made up and then tried to fit something around it. It's really what we've been trying to work towards over the years. Basically trying to unify and bring lots of different areas together. And I think with version 10 we'll see that as well, that it's actually bringing a lot of the things we've been working towards for many years together in one spot. Things like all the different project phases, being able to offer a solution in all those different areas, from just data consolidation, reading in data from many different sources. Detailed survey, people again bringing the data to go into your concept planning and stages. We cover all those areas now. Then full detailed design in virtually any area. Especially with version 10, we've beefed all that even further. Then the construction set out and that side of it, and quality control and as-built. So now we believe version 10 has something available for everybody in all those areas. We've tried to bring them all together. So we started in 2005 at that conference saying it was 12D closes the loop. And that's what we were talking about then. We wanted the data and the things to be able to flow right round from section to section and close the loop. And I think we've got all the tools there now to do it. We also have in our data structures, we have all these objects inside 12D, which you're probably all familiar with over time, the superstring, which covers 2D, 3D, polyline, pipes. We've got tins and super tins. Very few people have a thing like a super tin, which allows you to bring all your tins together easily without having to do lots of hard work. The drainage string, which looks after a whole drainage network. Again, just does all and consolidates it. The super alignment, that is just grown massively, and as you know with the computators and all the rest, it's amazing what you can do with a super alignment and do all your jobs. It just brings, again, all those areas together. Rasters, LAS elements. The LAS elements are for LiDAR, things like that for point clouds. And we'll talk a bit more about those this afternoon. And a new thing in version 10 called grid strings and grid tins. Again, all these different elements we need so we can handle all your sorts of work. And we'll talk about a lot of these. The grid strings and grid tins, Al and I will talk about after the afternoon session to tell you what those are about in version 10. Even design, the superalignment was the beginning of bringing it together where it was a combination of IPs and element methods. Some of our people have been with us for quite a while think they used to always do everything work in IPs and now you do a lot of their work in elements, but you need both. A lot of work, IPs are as good as they always were, but you've got the element methods there as well if you need them. Computators, that's where you can refer inside superalignment to other elements. Again, a very powerful thing that allows you to bring a whole design together. In version 10, name parts and name positions. This allows you to name different parts of your superalignment so you can refer them into them in MTFs or other things, again, to bring and lock everything together. So if you move an alignment, another alignment can change its position, its vertical values are in relation to it. Offset transitions. That's something we've introduced for version 10 and we'll have a talk on it. What this is normally work on a road you have a spiral as an example of a transition, but there are other ones as well. But if you want to parallel that, that's not another spiral. So because of that problem that's been around ever since civil engineering has been around, for version 10 we've added a new element called an offset transition, which is the exact parallel of a spiral or another transition. So again, without that you can't do things like have a roundabout or something coming off a transition coming into it. But this will allow you to do it. And components, again, some of those would have seen that in the upgrade or what's new seminars, where we're demonstrating them in the design side. That brings the whole thing together for design. So that's what sort of things we mean by bringing it together. On the drainage side, for version 10, we've added in rectangular pits, thicknesses for pipes, so you can modify the thing more correctly. So you can start using it for set out and construction, as well as just for analysis. We did the rational analysis before. We added dynamic analysis for version 9, and version 10 we're adding 2D analysis. So you can again do a complete subdivision right through to the 2D side. So basically the 12D drainage, this is why we had our name, it's 1D dynamic analysis plus 2D analysis. 12D, so it's 12D drainage, bringing the things together. Surveying, we started off doing just instruments and using instrument files, which is many, many years ago. We then put in a survey data file editor, which allowed you to interactively edit those files. Over the last couple of years though, then we've added 12D field, first in the set out, which allowed us to take control of the instruments and talk to the instruments rather than having to go through someone else's controller. And we started that with pick out, with set out, and we've now added for version 10 set out, picker. I'm going crazy this morning. So the two sides there are covered. And again, we're mentioning point cloud data. We'll say a bit more about that this afternoon and on the last session. The sorts of things surveyors now getting lots of is point cloud data. And conformance, we'll mention that in one of the surveying talks about doing conformance of your road against your design and things. And just in general, now there's one little shock you're going to get in version 10, and I'll warn you now, and it's a thing called Unicode. The beta people have been having interesting times with this, so I'll mention it now before you get your version 10s. What Unicode's all about is instead of just having 8 bytes to have a character, which only allows you to have 127 characters, so as the day that's like A, B, C, D, little a, big A, you could have 127 of those. That's what ASCII is called. It's a standard for that. But for other things, other languages than that, that was not enough. So they've introduced a thing a number of years ago, about 20 years ago, called Unicode, which allowed more than the 7 or 8 bytes. So you could have, I think, it was something like a couple of million characters. So you could have lots of different languages and things. And that's what the Unicode's all about, bringing all the languages together so the one program could handle all the different languages. There is another Unicode coming about 5-10 years down the track, which will be big enough to have all the known languages in the universe. But since we only know about Earth, it's not quite needed yet. But they have, putting all the languages in, even the Unicode they got now doesn't cover all the old ancient Sanskrits and things like that. But version 10, we've moved to Unicode so people can have different languages and things. And a lot of your firms have overseas work. And if they want to use their character sets, you need Unicode. So it will be some interesting things, but that's bringing all that side together. XML reports. Version 10's had the beginning of reports in XML format, which allows you then to make up all your own formats quite easily. You're not depending on us. PDF plotting, which is becoming a standard for most people. Version 10, again, can plot directly to PDF. Something we introduced was chains, which allows you to bring all your options together inside 12D. And those who've used chains, how many people here are using chains already? Yep, we thought it'd be probably the most popular option in 12D because it brings all the options together. And our programming languages for a smaller group, again, allows you just to do more things to make it work, not just what we deliver to you. Interfacing with other software. We believe no man's an island. Anyone who says they have all the software solutions is lying to you. And we've always believed from one day you should be able to communicate with as many different packages as possible. And we've tried to do that. As much as many of them takes a lot of our time. DXF, DWG. Every time they change its proprietary format, we have to spend a lot of man hours trying to get it to work. DGN, the same thing with their new format. It's slower for us to do because there's not many people with it. But we try our hardest so you can get your data backwards and forwards. Rasters, DEMS. They're the little grids and things you got. Point clouds from lasers. Other ones that a lot of you have is GenIO, CivilCAD, Geocomp, and the Land XML. Again, we want to try and talk to as many packages together, so if we haven't got the solution, someone else has, and we can bring it together for you. The GIS type ones, ArcInfo, MapInfo, Oracle Spatial. With our GIS interface, which we are introducing in version 10, it allows you to talk even more at higher levels to these sorts of packages, and there'll be a talk on that by a user tomorrow. And even go back to various drainage packages, even though they do some of them what we do, HECRAS, drains, PC drains, SWIM, should be SWMM there, and TubeFlow. If you need to use a package other than 12D, we don't try and prevent it because you have reasons for using other packages. We'd rather try and fit in with you so we can use the software together. And the other thing we're very passionate about is continuing support for open industry standards. We have been getting barred from being able to use other packages because it's proprietary and you can't get the format we've always believed is the wrong way. So we've always had our 12D ASCII, which is a published text format, so anyone can get our data. It's not locked up in a binary thing. We are introducing a 12D XML. Our 12D ASCII actually was very close to an XML format. You just have different types of brackets, and we will be introducing that over probably the lifetime of version 10, so you can use that as well. ADAC, that's a Queensland as designed as constructed format, which is starting to be allowed to hand in your data to a lot of the authorities electronically rather than have to give them, so they can use that to go into their systems rather than from drawings. E-plan and e-survey. E-surveys in New Zealand, where all their cadastral work is done online. You don't do anything any other way now. That is going to be introduced in Australia over the next, say, 12 months to 24 months. So it'll be a huge change for the surveyors, but that's, we believe, again, it's an open standard that everyone can work with. ADAC, I think, over the next 12 months, we'll talk about in a couple of days' time. It also, I think, over the next 12 months will start to come in. And IFCs, which are the open industry standard for BIMs. No one really knows what BIMs are. They're building information things. Everyone's trying to say, use our BIM system, and it usually means you're locked into it because they're all different. But there is an international standard which everyone's trying to get everyone to use, and that's what we'll be trying to support. But BIMs are interesting. They're not really designed for civil work. There's no alignment in them. There's no idea of even a projection. And so buildings are built in a space where you put 0, 0 in the corner and the way you go for half a kilometre maximum or a couple hundred metres. So there are some issues, but they'll be overcome over the next number of years, so you'll be able to pass data around then and won't be locked into the one package. Because we believe if we try to lock you in, we believe that's wrong. We want to give you ways so you can go to other packages and everyone should be in the same boat. So basically by supporting open standards, we try to bring everything together. So that's what we're meaning by bringing it all together. We're just trying to cover all the different areas, have data going backwards and forwards, and that's what's happening with version 10, is it's taking us further down that route to do it for you. So over the next few days, I think you'll hear lots of different talks and different presentations, and just keep that in your mind, that how it's trying to bring everything together for you to work much in your favour. Because 12D model, it's just not separate software packages cobbled together. That's easy to do. What we've wanted is to always be a tightly integrated suite of modules so you can use things easily without having to go backwards and forwards, but also if we don't do something, have good interfaces to go to the other things. So that we can cover all major areas of civil engineering and surveying. That is what we're all about, staying in this space and doing it very, very well, just bringing it all together for you. So hopefully, say over the next 3 days, hopefully 12D Model 10 for you will help you bring it all together in your office. So thank you. That's what our theme's about. And at the end of the conference, you can put on your little form we make you fill in and say whether or not you thought that does help you do and bring things together for you in your office.